Jon Stewart just did what no late-night host dared. He roasted Prince Harry live on The Daily Show, and even the studio gasped. Before we dig in, tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because this roast left the royal image in ashes. It was supposed to be a routine night on The Daily Show. Sharp jokes, political satire. But when Jon Stewart took his seat behind that iconic desk, coffee mug in hand, the tone felt different. This wasn't just comedy. It was confrontation disguised as laughter. Let's talk about Prince Harry. Stewart began with that classic smirk, the one that means someone's about to get roasted with precision. The crowd chuckled nervously. They knew what was coming. And sure enough, Stewart went straight for the jugular. You know, he said, if you keep telling people you don't want attention, maybe stop dropping documentaries every Christmas. The laughter was instant, loud, almost guilty. Because even fans who like Harry and Meghan knew there was truth in that punchline. I've watched Jon Stewart for years. His humor has always been surgical. But that night, it felt like he wasn't joking at Harry. He was diagnosing him. Stewart leaned forward, eyebrows raised, his tone turning analytical. We used to watch the royal family for scandals. Now we watch their therapy sessions. It's like The Crown, but with less dignity and more California lighting. The crowd roared. Even the camera operator could be heard laughing. And that was only the start. He began dissecting Harry's Netflix deal, the multi-million-dollar partnership that once promised insight and authenticity, but instead became, as Stewart put it, the most expensive diary entry ever written. It wasn't mean, it was measured. Every joke had a moral spine. But you haven't heard the craziest part. Halfway through the show, Stewart pulled out a mock segment titled Royal Flush, the cost of oversharing. With mock seriousness, he showed graphics comparing royal tradition and celebrity culture, then quipped, the only crown left in this story is on the Netflix logo. The audience lost it. You could hear laughter, cheers, even the sound of one person yelling, "Oh my God!" from the front row, and Stewart, sensing the energy, pushed further. I mean, how many documentaries can one man make about hating attention? At this point, I expect Prince Harry, Volume 4, The Privacy Paradox. The studio lights pulsed as laughter erupted again. But behind the humor was a deeper truth, one that hit the internet within hours. Clips of the roast flooded X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Hashtag Jon Stewart Roast trended in both the US and the UK for nearly 12 hours straight. Even major outlets like The Guardian and Variety reposted clips, calling it the boldest royal satire in years. For many viewers, Stewart said what they'd been too polite to admit, that somewhere between palace gates and Hollywood sets, Prince Harry had lost the plot. It felt like The Office meets The Crown, awkward, hilarious, and painfully self-aware. Because what Stewart did wasn't just mockery. It was cultural correction. He wasn't laughing at trauma. He was laughing at how privilege turns itself into performance. And that's what made it sting. Then came the closing zinger that stopped the laughter cold. Stewart looked straight into the camera and said, "Look, I get it. You escaped the royal family for freedom. But freedom doesn't mean a film crew." The audience went silent, then erupted in applause. It was part humor, part heartbreak, and entirely Jon Stewart. Blunt, compassionate, and cutting. What nobody expected was what happened next. According to entertainment blogs, Prince Harry reportedly watched the clip the next morning and boiled in anger. Sources close to the Sussex Circle told the Mirror that Harry felt mocked and humiliated, saying Stewart crossed the line between comedy and cruelty. One insider reportedly said, Harry sees himself as trying to heal, not entertain. Being reduced to a punchline really hurt him. But public reaction told a different story. Across social platforms, comments poured in, not mocking Harry, but echoing Stewart's frustration. We're tired of royal documentaries with no royalty and no story. Jon said what we all think. It's become performance therapy. For the first time, comedy aligned with public sentiment. By the next day, YouTube clips of Stewart's roast had surpassed 15 million views. Hashtag Daily Show trended globally. Even rival hosts like Stephen Colbert reportedly texted Stewart to say, that was the bravest thing on late night in years. Fans called it the roast that reset the royal narrative. Even Netflix memes started circulating. One showing Harry holding a director's clapper with the caption, "Privacy, take 47. It wasn't cruelty. It was catharsis. Hours later, The Daily Show's official account posted a short clip titled Jon Stewart's Royal Reflection. In it, Stewart said, "Comedy should always comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. Tonight was for the second part." That quote alone became viral, reposted thousands of times by fans and journalists alike. Because that's what Stewart had done, disturb comfort. He'd forced the audience and Harry to confront the absurdity of mixing trauma, fame, and moral lectures into a Netflix contract. As I watched it all unfold, one thing became clear. Jon Stewart hadn't just roasted Prince Harry. He'd redefined what satire could still do. He reminded us that power, no matter how softly spoken, deserves scrutiny, that even empathy can be performed, and that sometimes laughter is the last language left to tell the truth. Meanwhile, insiders say Harry has gone silent. No statement, no comment, no reaction since that night. Maybe he's reflecting. Or maybe he's realizing that when you build your brand on openness, the jokes will always find a way in. Either way, Stewart's monologue will go down as one of the boldest moments in modern satire. A comedian reclaiming the right to laugh at the powerful, no matter how vulnerable they pretend to be. Because royalty isn't measured by titles anymore. It's measured by how you handle being laughed at. He won a crown of compassion, but got roasted by the king of comedy instead. If you thought that was wild, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Does Jon Stewart's humor go too far? Or is he the only one brave enough to tell the truth? Wait till you see which late-night host offended Prince Harry the next day, and why that backfired spectacularly.